Anyway, here we are. I guess it's the third day of Invictus, but technically it's the second event day. So anyway, Aegis Dynamics has taken over the convention center over at Bevik. They are the company that I like to say likes to bring the boom, because they pretty much have a lot of war machines. Alright, Invictus launch week 2953 Aegis Day. This is the big one. Let's see what we have going on here from Aegis. If you've gone to any of the shows recently, this is kind of a familiar sight. Looks like the main hall's got a Hammerhead as the centerpiece, flanked by a Retaliator bomber and the Redeemer. Yes, a Redeemer. Thank you. Need that pie to wake me up. A lot of people kind of hated on this ship. Didn't feel it was Aegis. This was a ship created by the community in a contest. I think the Next Great Starship contest, way back. And I believe these guys got hired by CIG, so that's kind of like the background of the ship. But there's been a lot of controversy around this one because some people just didn't feel like it looked very Aegis or Aegis enough. But I think it came out pretty good. Now that we finally have it in game, and it is a beast to deal with. It is a gunship. Great multi-crew ship. I like to call it a baby Hammerhead. So if the Hammerhead's out of your budget. But I also like the pilot has some gun controls as well too. And I kind of like the look of it too. The only thing is that the handling is kind of like a school bus. Definitely leaves a lot to be desired in the handling department, but it is a big ship. So I guess it's not supposed to be handling like a dragster or a racer. 3 to 4 crew, a whopping 2 SCUs of cargo you can put in this guy. And 2 size 4 cannons for the pilot, which I like. That's kind of why... Personally, I think this one is a better buy than the Hammerhead, but we'll get into that. 2 man size 5 Gatling turrets for your gunners, and also another 2 size 5 remote turrets. 16 size 2 missiles. This guy is a beast. It's great for your militia orgs. But if you haven't rented this one or had the chance to go inside, definitely take a look at it. It's worth looking at, because it does have a hefty price tag. So it's out of the budget for a lot of people. Alright, let's move on over to the Retaliator. This is another interesting one that is worth talking about. The Retaliator comes in 2 variants. I believe in the game right now we have the Bomber variant. But there is a base version as well too. This one is supposed to be a modular ship. So the base you can pledge for, it's just actually cheap. It used to be like if you pledged for the base, they would give you the Bomber, but I think they changed that. Because the Bomber is actually more than the base, so that was actually a good deal at the time. But if memory serves me correctly, and right now I'm so tired, my memory might be a little bit off, you could use this as a cargo ship with the base if you got the cargo module as well too. So actually, let's take a look at what modules they were saying is available for this. Yeah, so they don't sell the modules yet, but if you got the base, supposedly in the future, you're going to have the ability to get a cargo module, a drop seat module, living module, so I guess like it could be a touring ship as well, or the original torpedo bay modules, which are fixed to the bomber variant, which is the one that you can get right now in game. So it's an interesting looking ship. It's kind of got thin corridors on the inside, so I don't like that about it. That could just be by virtue of it being an older design. I feel like Aegis made this kind of like their multi-purpose ship. You know, because it sounds like you could use it for commercial use, as well as all the military applications. And maybe like a heavily armed cargo ship with the base. Anyway, the base module is the base variant of the Retaliator is very reasonably priced, so I think if you're thinking about this ship, that's probably one to look at. Anyway, the Hammerhead's the heavy gunship of the Aegis lineup. Can carry a crew of 3 to 9 people, whopping 40 SCUs of cargo, and it actually does have a cargo bay ramp in the back, if memory serves me correctly, so you can actually get a small vehicle back there. I don't like that the pilot of the Hammerhead does not have any weapons, so this is purely a multi-crew ship, but as you can see, your gunners have some massive turrets over there under their control. These are 6 size 4 repeater turrets, 8 size 5 missile racks. So this is a beast to deal with in the battlefield. But like I said, as a pilot of it, I'm not too crazy about the fact. I know they were really sold on the hammerhead shape, but putting the cockpit at the bottom kind of kills the visibility up top when you're flying it. So that makes it a little bit of a challenge. You have the nice docking collar up top though. And the interior of the ship is really nice. If you're a fan of the Aliens movies, Aegis interiors kind of remind me the most of those ships. As a matter of fact, let's sneak in there. Since I actually sold my Hammerhead because I felt like I didn't have enough friends to really get the value out of it. But yeah, that's a great multi-cruise ship. Right now, multi-cruise is kind of like in a not so great place, let's be honest. There's not a lot you can do aside from some missions. So yeah, this is your bridge on the Hammerhead, and like I was saying, because it's under the ship, it's kind of like the underbelly of it. You get a great view of the bottom and straight ahead, but up on top is kind of an issue for me. Although a lot of people do fly in third person anyway, so I guess no big deal. Definitely worth renting because this thing has a hefty price tag at $725 pledge price. Alright, so we have the Vanguards on the sides of this display, and then in the center you have the Ravens. Sorry, not the Ravens, the Sabres are in the center. And then you have the Gladius in the very center. I really like this display setup a lot. This is the Gladius Valiant version, which is part of the Masters of Flight series, so it's one that you can only get, I believe, during Invictus and IE. There's an in-lore story about this of how an ace fighter pilot, I think. So yeah, let's start out with the Gladius, since that's one of the first entry-level fighters you can get. Small one-person fixed-wing fighter. To me, I kind of compare it as like Aegis's Arrow. But it's beloved for performance and simplicity. Fast light fighter with laser focus on dogfighting. These are just a lot of fun to fly for me. I actually prefer them a little bit more over the Arrow. I know a lot of people probably would argue with me that the Arrow's more fun, but I think the Arrow's too fast for me, so I kind of prefer this one a little bit more. And with the redesign, I like that you can store, I believe, stuff on the outside now, right? You have like storage compartments on the outside. Anyway, it's got one size 3 Gatling up front, 2 size 3 laser repeaters, 4 size 3 missile racks, and 6 missiles altogether. The Gladius is still a beast to me. Maybe you can tell me about these ships. I don't know. Have you flown any of the Sabres? The Sabres here are their medium fighter lineup from Aegis. I believe they have stealth capabilities as well too. Yeah, these stealth fighters can't carry any cargo like most fighters, so you're definitely committed to fighting here. But you do have the Sabre and the Sabre Comet over here. I've never been crazy about the Comet's paint job, but again, it's another Master of Flight's version of this ship. Anyway, I don't know a lot about the Sabres. I think I've only flown them like once or twice. It just wasn't something that appealed to me for whatever reason. So if anybody does have experience with these, please share and let me know if it's good or if it's worth it. I know they've got 4 size 3 laser repeaters and 4 size 3 missiles, so it should be decent to deal with. So speaking of heavy fighting, that is what the Vanguards do best. They are the heavy fighters of the lineup. They come in 4 variants, each with its own speciality. I like these ships a lot. They hold a crew of 2. Full interior in there, including a bathroom. Let's go inside the Harbinger, which happens to be the one that I own. You can get these. The Warden is a heavy fighter variant. Then you have the Sentinel, which does electronic warfare, so EMPs and stuff like that to shut down ships. The Vanguard Hoplite is a dropship, which I never thought these were really great dropship for whatever reason. I don't think they look good as a dropship, but that's me. What do I know? As you can see here in the interior, you've got the bathroom, which is my fan favorite. Standard Aegis bunk, very military utilitarian. I believe there's a turret access up here, right? And then you get the cockpit over here, but it's a very livable ship. We have a room full of space penguins, or the official term is the Avengers, with all their variants here. And in the center we've got the Eclipse, which is the stealth bomber variant. It looks very much like the stealth bomber, right? And I feel like they just kind of copied that off of the stealth bomber. But it does look cool. I actually like the ship a lot. I just don't like the price point of it. for a fighter. I just can't see myself paying that kind of money, but that's just me. But anyway, the Eclipse has can carry no cargo because it is a fighter. Very niche. 3 size 9 torpedoes, so that's great. If you're that kind of guy who likes to sneak up on other ships and just, you know, unload and say, boom, gotcha, then this is for you. 2 small ballistic Gatlings on it, though. So I say it's very niche because once you go into, you know, warp, maybe you take out your target, there's not much else you're going to be doing. I don't think you're going to be dogfighting in this. But it is a really nice ship. I really love the cockpit and the look of it. Yeah, it's just a nice looking ship. Very sexy. But I like the look of it. I think it's got a very cool cockpit. Actually, these sticks look exactly like my VKBs. Definitely a buying game now. Alright, let's talk some Space Penguins. For the longest time, I think these were like the go-to starter ship that everybody used to recommend that you spend a little bit more money on. Because for starter ships, they're pretty versatile. They have a nice little cargo bay in back. You can put like a PTV buggy back there. I'm not sure if the STV will fit back there. But great starter ship. Like, it's got a bed interior in there. In lore, these were combat ships. I think a lot of them are converted to like police patrol ships. Let's see, the Avenger Titan is the cargo variant version, which is, it's the cheapest starter ship variant of these. Not the cheapest starter ship in general. I think that's probably going to go to the cutter at this point. But this one here carries 8 SUs of cargo, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's more than any other starter ship, I believe, except for the Nomad, if you consider that a starter ship. But I don't think it's really priced like a starter ship. It's a little more expensive than that. But nice interior in these guys. I believe there's a bed bunk here. Well, it's just one bed because it's a single fighter. But this is a very nice ship. It was one of the first ships I bought in the game, actually. 3 ballistic Gatlings on the nose that I wrote down in my notes can break off, because when I've used this ship myself, I've damaged this nose turret a lot. It's kind of fallen off. But 2 size 2 laser repeaters, 2 size 3 missiles, 4 size 2 missiles. I like it a lot. I mean, for entry-level cargo ship, it doubles as a bounty hunting ship, so you can use it for that as well too. So the Warlock doesn't really have a great use right now in the game, but it is considered a light freight ship, but I don't see how, because you really can't carry anything back here. As you can see, it's got the whole EMP device here, which I guess you're just supposed to fly in and just knock out all the power systems of other ships. But anyway, it carries no cargo because it has that EMP generator back there, and the gameplay is not really there for this one. I think it looks cool, but I don't see too many people actually buying this one right now. And I certainly wouldn't recommend that you do it. I'd steer clear. On the other side, here's another one that I would probably steer clear of, the Avenger Stalker over here, which is like the bounty hunting edition. It's really cool that you can see the cells in the back, but actually this is the first Avenger I bought because I thought it could be like a space Boba Fett, but then I realized there was, you know, they don't have it in the game yet where you can lock up NPCs or whatnot. But if they did, this one actually carries, it looks like 6 prisoner transports, so that's pretty nice. But anyway, why it's not practical in the game right now is because since you have those cells back there, you can't carry any cargo, so that's useless. And finally here we got the Avenger Titan Renegade. It's just another variant of the Titan. Although I do actually like this one, not only just for the paint job, but in lore it's another Master of Flight series ship. I believe this was used by a member of the Advocacy, which is like the space police and intelligence force in Star Citizen. But since it's a Master of Flight ship, it does reverse the Fire 1 and 2, which I think I prefer, because I believe the Fire 1 on the standard is the Gatling, which runs out of ammo, and you have your laser repeaters, which, so on my stick, that's like, I end up using the laser repeaters, which is like my Fire 2, which is like more in the missile button configuration. So I think I would like the Renegade, because it would reverse that, and then I could use my pew-pews, my laser repeaters as my primary fire. And then you just use the Gatling when you're up close to, you know, shred that hull. Alright, see what they got in concept over here. This looks like a Vulcan, which is their repair ship. Yeah, I'm sorry, not the Anvil. The Crucible from Anvil, I think, is the way to go if you're going to get a repair ship. This one, instead of having like a hangar that you can park ships in to work on it, this one uses drones that I believe are deployed from the ship and then go fix, you know, your targets. So, I'm not too crazy about the design of it or the way that it looks, but anyway, I just wanted to double check. The Vulcan is capable of doing refueling as well too, so you know, maybe if you just got a Starfarer only because you like the refueling aspect of it, this might be a better deal. Alright, the Nautilus, the mine-laying ship. I've never been crazy about this one, honestly. I think it looks pretty cool. It looks like a ship from Mass Effect, but I just don't know about mine-laying gameplay. You know, not enough to pledge for this. And it's a hefty pledge at 725 USD. I mean, it's kind of big. You got to be committed, but it's going to be a decent sized ship, 46 crew, 64 SUs of cargo. So, if you like big ships and you're in a Mark Order, maybe this is the one to get. I don't know though. For some reason, I feel like I need to wait till this is closer to release and they talk about what they're going to do with this to feel really good about it. Alright, it just wouldn't be me if we didn't talk about what's going on sales-wise with Aegis Day here. The Stalker's kind of okay. I believe there's an Avenger Titan starter package, so you can get a Titan at a good deal. It's not the Renegade, but it comes with the Invictus paint job, so at $55, this one here probably is the deal of the day, I think, from Aegis. It's a great starter ship that can springboard you into a lot of other stuff. You can do deliveries, combat missions with it. Even though it's old, it's still one of the best, so I think we're going to give it the best buy of the day. I feel like I don't even have to look at anything else. Renegade is here. I don't like the fact that it costs that much more just for them to reverse the guns around and have a unique paint job, but you know, to each their own. If you feel passionate about the ship, I mean, I guess 75 isn't the worst. 85 for a Warlock, I mean, come on. I don't think anybody can recommend this right now. Let's just call it what it is. A bad buy. Eclipse at 300 is overpriced, you know, so it's definitely a bad buy, but if it's a ship you're passionate about, I can't say I'm not guilty of pursuing my passion ship purchases. There's probably some ships in my hangar I shouldn't have gotten. But this one I feel like I would just wait to buy it in game. I would work up to it. Gladius, I mean, it's a fighter, so I don't think anybody should buy fighters because you can buy them in game fairly inexpensively. But 90 is not terrible. It's not great though. Just okay. I don't even so. I lean more towards a bad buy than okay, just because that price tag. And in the Valiant, yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to pay that price just to say you have the Valiant edition, but they did right size the firing, I guess. And yeah, Hammerhead at 725, I really don't think is worth it. I've made the mistake of buying big ships in the past without having an org set up to have people to play with, so I think I'm really down on spending money on big ships until you know like what your situation is. Like if you're like me and you end up playing solo, you know, most of the time when you get on, just because you have to get on at weird times because you have responsibilities and stuff like that during the day, then maybe a big ship isn't the thing. Maybe joining an org that has a big ship that you can go out in is a better deal than buying it, right? But I don't know, that's my 2 cents for what that's worth. Yeah, and talking about big ships you probably should steer clear from. The Idris P here at 1500, it is a big boy. It is a frigate, crew complement of up to 28, so 8 to 28 people. I don't see how that's possible without a lot of AI NPCs, which makes me a little bit nervous because they seem to be really good at standing on chairs but not much else. Does carry a whopping 995 SCUs of cargo though, so that's significant. And then you get the Javelin at $3,000. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this one. I honestly think I would rather work up to this one in game as a stretch goal rather than pay that price tag of $3,000. Plus, you'll also know by working it up if you have enough people to man this thing to make it worthwhile for you. But it does carry 5,400 SE user card. This is a big ship. It's a destroyer used by the UEE. 12 to 80 people crew. That seems ridiculous to me. I have very little faith that they can pull that off for some reason. Just me being, I guess, a pessimist. But definitely go up to the station, because I think this is docked at the stations in the major cities. And go inside, just so you get the feel of what it's like on the inside. And then Nautilus, the mine layer at 725. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about this ship anymore to pledge that kind of money anymore. Redeemer at 325. I mean, all ships are overpriced. I think the sweet spot for this one would have been like $40 or $50 less, then I could recommend it more. Once you cross through over 300, you really got to like this ship, but there is a lot to like about it. I mean, I don't like going into combat, but when I have to, I do like grabbing in this and, some friends and saying, hey, man at turrets and let's have a good time of it, because it can take a pounding. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend buying it at that price point, but if you did, I wouldn't hate on you either. Yeah, so we talked about this earlier with Retaliators. If you're going to get a Retaliator, this is probably the best deal of them because it is modular. And one of the modules should be the bombing module. I think we talked about that as well, too. So that's interesting. And I do think that this one is going to go up in price. But if you're like me, though, and you don't like the interior and the way that looks, that 150 is probably going to be spent better elsewhere. I think this is one of the older designs as well too, so I think it could probably use a revamp. The corridors are very tight in there. I feel like I'm walking in a submarine. If any of you guys have had the opportunity to tour a submarine. Yeah, and then the bomber, which is at 275. This is the one that we actually have in the game right now. It is loaded up with the torps, but I also think the price is too loaded up for me. I'm not crazy about it at 275. Sabre at 170, yeah, overpriced. Same with the Comet, but hey, if you like it, go for it. And tell me what it's like. Alright, Dance Harbinger at $290. I mean, before we get into the Vanguards, I'm just going to say these are all going to be expensive ships. None of them are going to be a really good buy value-wise. I think it just depends on if you're passionate about the ship, then pursue it. But yeah, the Hoplite drop ship at 235. I mean, I've never been crazy about this as a drop ship. And let's see, Vanguard Sentinel for the electronic warfare. I really like this ship a lot and the paint job it has, but I got to catch up on money and finances this month, so 275 seems too much to pay for that. Alright, the Warden at 260 is your heavy fighter. I kind of think of it as being used in patrols maybe, but it's supposed to be a long range ship. Interesting. But yeah, 260, I don't know. I don't like any of the pricing for the Vanguards, but I mean, it's not terrible. So funny how my expectations have been tempered by really ludicrous sales in this game. Anyway, going to the Vulcan at $200. This one's probably going to go up in price a little by the time it gets closer to release. I'm just not crazy about how it goes with things, and I actually ended up pledging for a Crucible. I think I got a good deal on that one before they raised the price again. So for me, I wanted to go that repair route because it has like an indoor hangar that ships can land in and 2 garages. Yeah, this one is meant for going into hot zones where you don't really have a lot of time, I guess, to work on a ship, so you're close enough to deploy your drones. It's not for everybody. It is like your healer of the party, so let's see about that. I guess that covers the sales for Aegis, which I'm glad because I am exhausted. 07s, and I will be seeing you guys throughout the week for Invictus.